Season is still here, and Zenit Bank is giving you more. This festive season, carry out transactions the easy way with Z Mobile, star 966 hash, or Zenit Internet Banking. With Zenit Bank, you always have options, and the best part is that their channels are fast, secure, and it's real-time action for you. And Zenit Bank is wishing you an enjoyable Christmas season and a very prosperous New Year. Zenit Bank, in your best interests.
Well, in spite of the festivities, one newspaper has turned up.
Yes, we should have added them to the trumpet,
In fact, the Economy Times, them do all.
Yes,
because they've published, in spite of the fact that they are bereaved.
Yes, the founder and the managing editor sadly passed on December 25. That is Christmas
Day, yes.
But the newspaper managed to publish today.
Yes, that's Edward Elom Desewu.
A very great example of business continuity. Usually we talk about founders of businesses passing on and businesses dying immediately. Elom, our friend, sadly passed on Christmas Day. And the team has managed to publish the newspaper for today.
Yeah.
And they've gotten all the big stories, all the right angles when it comes to business. So we'll start with the Economy Times. Anyway, that's the only newspaper we have.
It's the only one we have, yes. We'll start and end. Well, we won't end with it. We've got other stories online. But Ghana's private sector gears up for a transformative 2026. That's the big one. On the front page of the Economy Times. There are details of interest. Now, this story, I saw it and thought, what? It says, Unpacking Advocates for Christ. Ghana's stance on non-interest banking. Now, so Advocates for Christ?
So it's Advocates for Christ Ghana. That is a civil society group.
Right.
And they have a stance on the non-interest banking.
Right.
And Adnan Adams Mohammed, who is the editor for the newspaper, has done a great job in attempting to unpack their stance on the non-interest banking.
What's their stance?
The Bank of Ghana is working on the non-interest banking. Let me read the story so that we get everything word for word. Now, the story says a civil society group, Advocates for Christ Ghana, has called on the BOG to suspend its planned normalization of non-interest banking, although its stance is premised on religious intolerance and exhibition of lack of adequate understanding of the financial system that is about to be introduced in Ghana. Now, a closer examination of the concerns raised by the group reveals apparent misrepresentation of facts and a hint of intolerant religious sentiment. And the paper goes on to write about what the Bank of Ghana seeks to do with the non-interest banking. So that's the story. So Adnan has really read their stance and he's trying to explain why he believes that their advice to the BOG to suspend the non-interest banking plans
is religious intolerance and ignorance.
Basically, that's the analysis that Adnan has done. But if you check the newspaper as well, Elom Desewu stories on the front page. A huge law strikes as Edward Elom Desewu, publisher of Economy Times, passes on. Great guy, and he's been doing this for over 10 years.
Okay, so I'm asking for my own education. Advocates for Christ Ghana, they believe that non-interest banking would somehow be a bad thing for them,
for the economy, really, and that we should really look at it and not listen to their advice and their caution. Now, Adnan is writing that their criticism of the proposed framework as lacking a tested, context-specific non-interest banking model overlooks the fact that non-interest banking is a well-established global practice, with many countries successfully implementing tailored models. The group's emphasis on constitutional neutrality and equal treatment before the law is commendable, but their interpretation raises questions. Non-interest banking, by its nature, operates differently from conventional banking. The BOG's proposed framework aims to regulate and supervise these differences, not create a parallel system. And so,
I think the thing that is of interest to me is that I don't know how non-interest banking will negatively affect interest banking, for want of a better expression, right? How will it negatively? Will banks stop lending for interest?
No.
So, in what way does the existence of non-interest banking In what way is it negative?
It's something we need to also spend time on to unpack. We need to unpack the banking sector, and we need to also get all the data and explain the impact of non-interest banking within our economy. For example, is it going to make money cheaper? Is it going to make more money available? Which banks have shown interest in going into non-interest banking? What capital are they bringing into the system compared to the capital within the system? So this is an assignment we have to give ourselves, Kojo, to help listeners understand the non-interest banking and its impact on our economy and how it's going to make capital a bit more available and affordable to the Ghanaian business. So that's basically the front page of the Economic Times. But if you go into the inner pages, the IMF program, the review, mixed outcome with recommendation for extension, about a 3-month extension.
What do you think about IMF's assessment of our economy after a year under new government?
Our economy is still not as strong and as robust as it must be. There's a lot of work we need to do to and with our economy. For example, we are talking about December in Ghana, right? Anybody running our economy and any part of our economy should ask questions about the impact of every activity, every policy, and everything we are doing on the economy. So December in Ghana is here. We were expecting about 200 to 400,000 people. Let's just say we were even expecting 200,000 people. All these people are flying into the country, right? Let's just assume each of them spends $1,000 on their flights. So 200,000 people times $1,000 is taking you to some $200 million dollars on air ticketing alone, right? Air transport alone. All that money goes outside our economy. None of that stays within this economy. It's only the airport handling charges and the Ghana airport companies' fees that they will charge. You don't own a national airline. So Emirates, Qatar, British Airways, TAP Portugal. In fact, last Wednesday, I went to the garden at East Legon to sit there to count aircrafts that were landing, right? TAP Portugal, Brussels, Emirates. They just kept landing. And all that money is going to the shareholders and the owners of those airlines. So when we talk about our economy, every activity, every policy must be designed to ensure that we retain as much value as possible. December in Ghana, we are drinking. What are we drinking? We are not drinking palm wine and apeteshi. We are drinking these imported drinks. If you go to these high-end parties, so it's still creating jobs, right? Even transportation, Uber, for example. Uber, Yango, all these ride-hailing platforms are making money. We'll say that our drivers are making money, but the shareholders, if they are making money, is also going to the founders of these businesses. So what if we planned our economy such that the key players in the economy are Ghanaian businesses that will help us retain more value? Recently, we went to buy 300 buses from Egypt, right? We've gone to buy 300 buses from Egypt. I don't understand why, after 47 to 50 years of Ghana being able to assemble buses here, we decide that we need buses to transport Ghanaians. We need buses for Metro Mass. I also learned that we're also going to buy buses for STC. You've gone to an Egyptian company to buy 300 buses. They're assembling 300 buses for you. Okay. Now, if you look at our history of bus procurement over the past, since the year 2000, we've spent close to $300 million as a state importing buses for Metro Mass, STC, and all these companies. We had Neoplan, which we owned a 55% stake in. We made Neoplan collapse in 2023. Okay. Now, if we are resetting the economy and want to create jobs, and you want to buy 300 buses, you should ask yourself, what is the strategy to make 300 buses available within my economy that will help me retain as much value, create enough jobs, and create a chain reaction in the economy? Then you can ask yourself, does Neoplan still have those facilities? Can we, in the next 6 months, give them some capital to retool instead of buying assembled buses from Egypt or wherever? Can we rather get semi-knocked down or completely knocked down versions of the buses and bring to Neoplan to assemble here so that there is an economic activity within the system. You see the whole thing. So you asked, what do I think about the IMF's review of our economy? I think that Ghana's economy, it is still epileptic. We are not where we have to be. If another COVID hits, if another evergreen hits the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal is blocked and the global logistics chain is messed up, we are going to go back to those moments again. So our economy is not there yet.
I think that's big picture. The IMF has tried to give us information about the detail.
Yeah.
About where we are in terms of our actual efforts to overcome some of the hardships that we found ourselves in the past few years. And according to them, for example, when it comes to debt, we are still high risk.
Yep.
According to them, some of the innovations that we've introduced, that we insist are improving our economy, are actually creating debt at Bank of Ghana.
Yeah.
I'm speaking about our gold reserves program.
So they are talking about commodity price volatility, policy slippages, and delays in debt restructuring.
Good. So these are details. You've given a very good big picture. But when it comes to these details, do you think the IMF has got them right?
Well, it's data that we give the IMF. It's not like they went to sit in Makola and manufacture their own data. So whether they've gotten it right or not, it's our data. And you cannot cook data for the IMF. You have to tell them the truth. So whatever they glean from that data actually, to a very large extent, represents the reality and our position as a country.
There are some who suggest that the IMF has its agenda. They don't hide it, by the way. They are not interested in encouraging third world countries to rely too much on their natural resources. It's not of interest to them.
Yeah.
And so if they see that, it would be surprising to hear them commend it. So there are some who suggest that what they are doing is interpreting the data in a way that serves their agenda.
Yeah.
And not necessarily ours. Do you think there's a need for us to read their report with that lens? Or data is data?
Trust but verify. Trust what you are being told and verify and set your own agenda. I think that you're talking about our natural resources, for example, right? We've mined gold for over 100 years. And Ghana doesn't have a proper gold mine that is state-owned, that actually brings in the revenue. And whenever we talk about natural resources and typical examples, we use the Saudi government, and I like to use the Malaysian government because we gained independence around the same time. And I've been to Kuala Lumpur to see Petronas, and now Petronas of Malaysia is able to play in the downstream, upstream sector. Okay, they are mining their own oil, they are exploring oil in other countries, they are refining their oil, they are selling, they are doing everything 360, total value chain player. And every year they're able to put about $40 billion in the government coffers to run the economy. So why have we mined gold for 100 years and we are still unable to own a proper stake? When the gold companies publish their annual financials, they've paid 6 billion Ghana cedis to government in taxes, they've paid this, I'm like, if they're paying that much, then they're making so much money. So why do we not own a Ghana gold company that is mining gold and reporting these numbers and supporting our economy? We had oil, the same thing. We had GNPC, we had Exploco and all these companies. What have we used them for? The good news is that our oil refinery, we are told, has started refining oil. Some 20-something thousand barrels with capacity to go 40,000 barrels and increase to even 60,000 barrels. This Tama oil refinery, good news for this Christmas, should be an example to other state entities to sit up, okay, and make themselves count. And I pray that the Edmond Combat-led Tama oil refinery is able to turn it around, because since I was a child, we were paying the toll debt recovery levy and we still pay. And so, but what I need to understand from them is that What is our margin per barrel? If we refine a barrel of oil in Ghana, what is our margin per barrel? What is our cost per barrel? Are we making money? And if we are going to do this, how much will Ghana make at the end of the year? I estimate that if Tamale Refinery works efficiently, we can make about $50 million every year as our margin, based on the quantities we are producing. Based on every other factor, what can we do to improve this and make Tamale Refinery a proper giant? There's a Dangote refinery, there's a Zenit refinery. How do we use Tamale Refinery to even ensure that our forest requirements for finished petroleum reduces? Those are some of the things.
Yeah. Isn't it amusing though? Look at the level of excitement at the fact that Tema Oil Refinery is going to refine oil.
Or they've started refining. They've started.
What else are they expected to do?
Mm-hmm. But where is the oil coming from though?
No, but that's the point. The point I'm making is that we have set up a system that is designed to fail. So even the fact that Tema Oil Refinery is doing what it is supposed to makes us excited.
Yeah.
Because that is not the norm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a commentary on our affiliation with failure.
Yeah.
We are just too used to failing.
A lot of institutions not doing what they are supposed to.
Yeah.
Like in the commodity space, we should be asking ourselves, where is the position of PBC now, Produce Buying Company Limited? Egu anase ewoho. Cocoa Board, that giant institution. Look, Cocoa Board could just be that single institution, if it was run well, that could transform our lives forever.
Well, it used to.
It used to.
Cocoa Board used to be the economy of Ghana. Today, today it has been run down in ways that will make you cry. I listened to a briefing recently where these guys were importing jute sacks.
Yeah.
Far more than they will need for a season. And then before the season ends, they import almost twice that amount again. And they don't even clear what they have imported from the port. Anyway. Gathering demurrage, and then they import more. Who is the guy? Who is the guy sitting there pressing the button? Import. Who is that guy?
I will say, the middle name here, import.
Who is he and why?
Yeah, it's sad. Anyway, Kojo, before we go for the BBC News, let's bring some stories from my Joy Online. NACOC dismantles drug dens in Eastern and Greater Accra regions in Operation White Ember. This is good news. In the communication space as well, a lot of online fraudsters have been arrested over the season, which is good news for us. Fire service rescues two in truck accident at Esukoko. And Passion Air female pilot shares inspiring journey into aviation. Is something you want to share with your daughters and your sons. Let them know that everything is possible. ECG announces technical challenges with MMS compliant meters, says it's being fixed. And Canadian national and Ghanaian boyfriend arrested for alleged arson at Oyarifa. And GESS only shortlisted teachers with index numbers are eligible for the promotion exams. Time for the BBC News, which is brought to